So we've been talking offline for quite some time. Your concern is how organic search traffic to your clients' sites has like dipped by, if I'm not mistaken, by up to 40%, I think you might have said. So as someone who's been in the corporate seat, right, where I relied very heavily on organic search and I was paying SEO agencies $12,000, $15,000 a month to get a couple of keywords at the top of Google. That's a very scary sort of proposition to be faced with. I know you've been looking into the term, and I think it goes by different terms, but you've been calling it GEO, I think, generative engine optimization. That's the solution. It's kind of like the SEO, but the new version of SEO, GEO. What are to mitigate the top, middle, bottom funnel loss of traffic to your clients' websites? What are you looking at doing? I know that you talked about you're working on a new framework. Can you give us like a sense, an overview, or summary of what that looks like?
Yeah, so it does go by multiple names because the industry is so new. So in
Mhm.
some instances it's called AI SEO, it might be AEO, it might be AIO or GEO, which stands for generative engine optimization. And ultimately, you're looking at three different algorithms you're trying to solve for. So there's Google Gemini, there's ChatGPT, and there's Perplexity. There's also other engines out there. There's Claude, there's Llama, there's Grok. The list goes on and on and on. But the three big ones are going to be Gemini, ChatGPT, and Perplexity. And they each have different crawlers, quote unquote, spiders, whatever you want to call them, that pull in the information, and then their algorithms are based on different criteria. So Google's algorithm is not entirely dependent upon their traditional organic results. There are a lot of nuance there, and there's definitely a different approach that is going to be required to be able to compete in that section. And that section is pretty robust too. If you click into that when you perform what we call a discovery or a commercial search, which is they're not looking for a brand, someone's looking for a solution, product or a service to solve a challenge that they might have. That's a commercial search. And if you perform one of those and you look at the Gemini AI suggest section, when you expand it, it'll have some citations over to the right, and then it'll have a long list of different pieces related to that overall search query that you performed. Sometimes there are links, sometimes there are not, and it's really impossible to predict when. So in terms of competing on Google, which is still far and away the biggest engine to drive new business for B2B organizations. So between brand and discovery, Google is really overwhelmingly still the giant in the room and the main area of focus. So you'll start at the top with the page section, which have also become more robust. So the top paid listing now has the ability to serve up site links that really take up almost the entire screen when they first load. And then they might have up to 4 sponsored links. And then below that is the AI suggest, the Gemini area. And then below that is the traditional organic section. So if you don't expand the Gemini section, the traditional organic results are still there. And you can move into those and you still see traffic from those, but not
Mhm.
nearly as much as you did even 3 months ago. So now Google is really ramping up inserting the AI suggest section into their search results. Don't see it. I haven't seen it much in brand search. Will that happen? Who knows? That's anyone's guess. But what we do see is that cost per click or CPCs are going up dramatically and very, very quickly, because the competition is really starting to lean into trying to monetize the sponsored section at the top of Google.